If you clicked on this video, you're probably curious about the idea of starting your own business so you can finally quit working. And that's exactly how I felt, and that's what I did. I have a friend who started his company before me, and he warned me starting a company is way more work than a regular job. And another friend of mine who's like a millionaire and a pretty big YouTuber, he told me that he would actually love to go back to a regular 9-to-5 job because it's just exhausting to constantly come up with new ideas to make money online. So I heard all these warnings and I just didn't listen because wage slavery was just crushing my spirit. I couldn't stand it anymore. The constant tiredness, the boring meetings, the endless small lies that companies tell, and the most lifeless coffee machine chatter. Like I wanted out. So in January 2025, I started my own business and I was so excited. But 4 months later, things have definitely spun completely out of control. So here's what I've learned so far: the good, the not so good, and everything in between. For the past 4 years, I've been a fan of the idea of creating passive income streams. I'd even made videos about it, and I actually recently released a free tutorial where I shared everything that I had learned. But back then, I was sort of always afraid of making too much money. I was worried about, taxes, bookkeeping, all that adult stuff that nobody really teaches you. But once you start a business, you realize something very interesting. The ceiling is gone. Like there is no upper limit on how much money you can make. And I want to say this clearly, I don't actually love money. To me, money is mostly a headache. 9 out of 10 problems are money related. For me, it's more about the creative process of making money that's interesting. And I think that there is a huge difference there. Now, the cool thing about starting a business is that it starts to feel like this little living thing that you're responsible for. It's kind of hard to explain, but it's almost like a Tamagotchi. You remember those? Like you had to feed it, check on it, keep it alive. And to be honest, it's kind of fun. It gives you a strange sense of purpose. Work is much more fun than fun. That quote has been rattling in my mind lately, because when you're building something that you care about, even when it's hard, there is a weird joy in it. Okay, and here are the bad things. The first thing is being alone. I'm doing everything myself. Now, I chose this path deliberately because I'm an introvert, I'm a bit of a control freak, and I wanted full responsibility for everything that happens in this project. And the second challenge is time. It sort of swallows your time completely. Every hour, you're either working on the business or you're thinking about it. Even when you're not at your desk, your mind doesn't really switch off. And for the past 2 years, I've been making videos about wage slavery, sharing my frustration and criticism about how people are treated in modern workplaces. And I still feel that way, but something has definitely shifted for me. Call it a change of perspective. You see, I used to think that companies were just inherently bad, inhumane, that staying at a workplace just damages the soul. But as soon as I started my business, something became very clear to me. I need to make money for this to survive. And with taxes and expenses, I need to make a lot. I have to learn how to sell. I need to build a relationship with my audience, gain your trust, and eventually convert you into customers. I need to use strategies like discounts, bonuses, limited time offers, and it's not to just scam you, it's just how the world works. Whether we're talking about bread in the store or the latest Samsung phone, it's all just commerce. And because of that, everyone who starts a business has to adapt to this reality or, fail. Now, personally, my ideal is that I would rather just put products and services quietly into my store, link to them under my videos, and if people want to buy, they can. But unfortunately, that's not how things work. Even Apple and Amazon have to market. If they didn't, they wouldn't make sales. And making profit is the whole point of any business. So here's the tension. If I want out of wage slavery, I need to convince people to buy what I make. And I have no interest in that part. I'm just not a salesperson. Ever since I started this, I've been questioning the decision to start my business. There's a part of me that wants to shut the whole thing down and go back to just being a miserable wage slave. Oh, and by the way, I'm not free from wage slavery yet. because it takes time to build a sustainable business. So I'm still working my 9 to 5 and I'm still trying to be a YouTuber and build something around it. I keep reminding myself, build a business around your passion. That's the way to go. But there are days when the pressure and the worry gets heavy and I just want to give up, So regardless how the future goes for my business, one thing is certain. I've learned so much from it, especially from the failures. I've listened to a lot of entrepreneurs over the years, and almost all of them have said the same thing, that the reason for their success is all those years of failure. And I never quite understood that, but I think I do now. You see, there are certain do's and don'ts that only become obvious once you're in the thick of it. And the more time you spend, the clearer it gets. But one thing I still wrestle with is patience. I want success now. I want to be able to quit my day job now. But the problem with impatience is that it makes you hunt for shortcuts everywhere. And that's just not how things grow. And so recently, I've been kind of comparing this whole business thing to exercise. You don't go to the gym once and expect to walk out stronger and looking like The Rock. It takes time, showing up consistently, even on days when you don't feel like it, and at first it feels like nothing is happening. Most people quit during this quiet phase, and not because they don't care, but because the results take longer than we want them to. Now, I don't want to make that mistake here. What keeps me going, even when it's hard, is remembering why I started. The thought of going back to a life I don't want is more motivating than any quick success could ever be. But lately, I've been trying to sort of slow it down and, control the pace a little bit. I've built some products. I have my course, I have my book, and now I just want to focus on what I love, which is this: making videos, reading your comments, having conversations like this. I don't have it all figured out, but that's okay, because life isn't about arriving somewhere perfect. It's about showing up and practicing who you want to become. Marcus Aurelius said, "The obstacle is the way." And this line has been a quiet reminder for me lately. Sometimes what feels like a setback is actually the path forward. Starting a business isn't easy. I've always figured that on some level, but now I know. And despite how hard it can sometimes be, I really don't regret it. It was the right thing to do. And if you're on the fence about starting something of your own, my best advice is just do it, but don't risk your financial stability. Start small, a side project that doesn't break you if it fails. Because it takes time to build something sustainable. I'm still waiting too. Technically, my business is already a success because it brings in more than it costs me. It's just not enough to walk away from my 9 to 5 yet. Now, will I ever make it? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. As always, thank you for listening. Do me a favor and tap that like button to show your support. Subscribe if you're interested in more content like this. Until next time, stay hungry, relentless, and strong in your journey of escaping wage slavery. Bye. Oh, you're still here. Oh, that's right. It's the behind the scenes vlog. So this segment of the video is where I share more personal things. It's mostly for my subscribers, but if you're new here, you're more than welcome to stick around. So I'm genuinely proud of what I've accomplished so far this year, and I wanted to share that with you. I did start a business. I did build a web shop and I launched a course, and just recently, I wrote and I published a book on Amazon, and I've been experimenting a lot with social media. I've been trying out YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and I even tested out TikTok. Yeah, I know. All of this while balancing my regular job and still making my usual videos. It's been exhilarating, and I've had a lot of fun, but I won't lie. It's been exhausting, it hasn't been very sustainable for my health, and it would be kind of strange if it didn't take a toll at me at least a little bit. I also want to mention that among everything that I've done, there is one project that I'm most proud of, aside from, my YouTube content. And it's actually been launching my Patreon. It's been a place that really keeps me grounded, Whenever I release something new, I share it with my Patreons first, along with my thoughts behind it. And my Patreons have been incredibly supportive and honest with me, and I'm so grateful for that. So a big thank you to all my Patreons. And also, one thing that I've noticed about myself when things get overwhelming, and they certainly have lately, is that I have this natural pull to simplify and slow things down. And this is where minimalism really helps me regain clarity. I start cutting out all the excess and I feel lighter and more focused. I actually plan to make a video about this process someday, and I've also been toying around with this idea of creating a second channel, someplace where I can share simpler vlogs, more experimental videos. But honestly, after seeing how YouTube has evolved in the last couple of years, I'm not sure it's even necessary anymore. You see, the old model was sticking to one topic and catering to your subscribers' needs. But now, with this new YouTube algorithm driving what people see, it feels like that structure doesn't matter anymore. I can post whatever I want here and the algorithm will still decide who sees it and who won't. And honestly, I find that a bit sad. I don't like it when I watch a video on something and then YouTube keeps recommending more of the same. So for example, just recently I was watching this behind-the-scene documentary of Breaking Bad, and now my recommendations are just flooded with more Breaking Bad content. It's like YouTube assumes that I'm only interested in Breaking Bad now. Like, we have more layers than that, YouTube, don't we? I much rather that YouTube recommends what I actually subscribe to. Anyway, I've been thinking a lot about creating these digital systems to keep my interests aligned, independent of algorithms and the whims of social media. And if I manage to make that work, I'll share that with you down the line. Okay, that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.